everyone, happy Monday. Thanks for joining me for a craft night with friends. My name is Alyssa Thomas from Penguin and Fish, where we make cute embroideries for beginners. And I'm here every weeknight, Monday through Friday at 8:30 p.m. Central Time. And it's a time that we can relax and craft together. So last week we finished up our lilac embroidery with our little squirrel on there. And so this week is kind of our free week. We actually have 2 free weeks this week. June just happened to have kind of like two days for us, or 2 weeks for us here. And we will be working on the embroidery, or on the Splendid Sampler 2 project a bit later this week, but I didn't want to set all that up today. It's a hot day out. I didn't want to do anything, so we are going to have a chill evening of working on my doily here. So now this is the emergency craft project that I shared a little while back, and I am on the last row of it, so I thought we could just crochet a little bit, crochet for about an hour here, see how far we can get on this last row. I'm pretty sure we're not going to make it all the way around in 1 hour, but we'll see. I'm on the last color, last row of this doily. So alright, let's get started. Okay, it is turning out so pretty as well. I am really excited to be working on this again today. It totally actually matches our lilac, so it's a good pairing for this week yet. So all right, like I said, am on the last row of this. I just started this kind of minty color as my last color, and we are doing just basically this little edging around the whole entire thing right now. So it's like some double crochets and then little like bloops here, or little, I don't know what you'd call those, like little mini picots sort of. So okay, oh wait, let me check. Okay, there we go. Couldn't see the comments there. So thanks for joining me. I know we're just doing a little something different today. So after I get done with the edging, I need to sew in my ends. So every time I switched colors, and I only switch colors when I completely run out of a whole spool of this 12-weight sewing thread. So anytime the color shifts is me running out of a spool. But after I sew in the ends, I still need to starch it. So the starching process, I have some examples of that. So here's one that's been starched. So you can see kind of how bubbly this is, and you can't really see the designs, but if I stretch it out, then you can kind of start seeing everything really nicely. The starching process basically stretches it out. So here's one, and gets it nice and flat, so it just stays, everything just kind of stays in position. Here's another one. Here's that one of the pattern that my grandma used all the time. You can see like all the little ends are just like perfectly in place, all ready to go. So if we just like compare, these are 2 different designs, but see how bubbly this one is. We are going to get it stretched out and just perfectly flat like this one here. So that's the final step of this process. So that's what we got to do yet. But first we got to finish this row here. So I'm going to just pull out some thread and let's get going. I'm using the chunky boy guy here. This is a Gulf Widow. This is actually crochet now. So let's get that tatted piece down here though again. So I do have some tatting. So here's an example of basically a tatted doily. It's just like a little snowflake. If we look super closely, like let's look at the finished one. It's just it looks very similar, but it's actually constructed completely differently. This is more of knotting, and this is like more of kind of like twists and chain stitches. So they look similar, but to the eye of someone that knows the difference, you can see, I could tell the difference between these two, but I'd have to get up close to look. Here again, you can kind of see it's a lot of like chaining and twisting, whereas these are like kind of perfectly nice little knots around a thread. So a little bit different structure, but they do accomplish a very similar thing in the sense of like these doilies. All right, I got like, my hands are sticking to everything. All right, so let's just pick up where we left off here. So I am using size 12 embroidery thread. Justin's asking what is the brand of thread. This is Sulky. What do they call this? Oh, Sulky, just Sulky. Sulky is the brand, and it is 12 weight sewing thread. They actually promote it. It's called their Petites collection. They promote it as, I don't know, you can use it for embroidery basically. So like one strand of this equals about two threads of embroidery floss. Like if you pulled 2 strands of embroidery floss out of the 6 strands, it would be about the same size. So you can embroider with it. This particular brand is by Sulky. So we're going to be basically doing the same thing throughout this whole piece. We're going to be double crocheting 4, and then doing 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 chains that we're going to just kind of do a little slip stitch in the first chain to make like a little circular bloop. And that's our little like decorative edging, and then 4 more double crochets. So these doilies, I've gotten asked a couple times, like, oh, how difficult is it to start to do a doily? It looks really hard. It looks fancy and intricate, but in reality, it's just the same as any other crochet project. And I think it might actually be even easier than many crochet projects in some cases, because well, like for this piece, I'm just doing chain stitches and double crochets. So if you learn how to do those 2 things, that's basically, with, you know, a teeny tiny exception here or there, what this whole entire thing is made out of. So you start with a ring, and then you're just doing double crochets and chain stitches for the whole thing. And because it's so small and so like open and lacy, it is, if you, it's easy to hide mistakes, basically. Whereas if you had a crocheted top, let's say, that had all the crochets had to be like really close together and perfect, and if anything was wrong, you would just like notice it right away. You don't really have that problem here. I know I've made a few mistakes that I've decided to not tear it out, and I think they're just kind of hiding in there. Does this twist up on you a lot? It doesn't, but I do try and pull off the spool kind of straight like this versus off of the top. I think if I pulled off the top, I think it would potentially twist more or get called up. It is, this is 12 weight sewing thread. So typically you would use like a cotton crochet thread, but I had gotten this collection, hold on, I gotta count to 5, this collection of sewing thread from a company called Sulky like years ago, and I've been slowly just using it to crochet with. Like again, here's this other one. It's made out of the same spools, and I did just like other colors, blending from one to the other. So this is just my fun way of using up all the floss, is to just keep making these doilies. And this is that doily that I asked for suggestions for the colors. I had the purple already, the like 2 center purples, but I didn't have any of the other colors, so I threw out some suggestions, and this is the one that was the most popular suggestion going into these teals and blues. And one of the reasons I did that is because I really like the pink colorway that I had picked out, but someone mentioned I should do like the yellows to the pinks as a whole separate doily, because then this would be like a dusk nighttime doily, and then I'd have like a sunshine one too. So I kind of immediately want to start another one of these with those orangey and pink bright colors. I think that'd be fun. Does the larger grip help? I mean, I think it does. It does take some getting used to. I had purchased another one to hold larger needles or hooks. I'm so used to saying needles. I mean hooks, crochet hooks, and I did that over an extended long project. I worked on it for like 8 hours one day, and before then I could only do it for like 1 hour. So the whole idea though with these grips is you just gotta let them kind of lay in your hand. If you're like really gripping them hard, then you're still putting a lot of pressure on your hand. But if I'm just like letting it lay in my hand, and I can just kind of move my hand and the hook rotates still. Like I don't have to be like right up in here and like rotating so my hands are close together. So I just let it lay and just kind of let it roll in my hand to turn. So it's been working really well for me, but it does take some getting used to. Oops, I gotta connect that guy first. So I'm using a size, I think this is a 1.3 millimeter hook, and now I'm second guessing myself. Hold on, let me just see if I can check. Oops, I don't need a double stitch here. I'm just making one of my little like picot loops out of chains, so I'm just trying to do a little slip stitch. There we go, those are a little tricky. And then 4 more double crochets. Once I get these double crochets done, I'll check the hook size again. I keep forgetting. But this is that hook that I also accidentally bent. I have not tried bending it back yet because I want to make sure I have it for the entirety of this project if it breaks. So I haven't bent it back yet, so it's been a little difficult to use just because it's been a little hooked a little bit more. So let's see. And it's actually really hard to get out of these grips. There was a suggestion from someone that they had these chunky boy grips, and they actually sliced down the middle of one, and then you can like pop it in and out. I'm like seriously considering that. It's by Chunky Boy, so they're on TikTok, so if you just, if you go in the search area on TikTok and type in like Chunky Boy crochet, it'll pop up. And then you can go to their thing. I think this is like, let's see, it's hard to pull down. It's a size 10, but I think it's a 1.3 millimeter hook. And you can see right there, it's bent and it's exposed here too, so it kind of scratches on the yarn a little bit, the thread a little bit, so it's a little annoying. But again, I didn't want to try and put it back without finishing this project first, just in case it broke, which I'm highly expecting it's going to. I'm going to try bending it back anyway, but I do want to finish this project first. I do have another little hook like this, but I think it's a slightly smaller size. So, like I said, I didn't want to change my gauge right in the middle, so I'm dealing with a broken hook. Okay, now I think I do 6 chains. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then we jump to this kind of little triangle we got going on here and do skip 2 and then 3 double crochets. 1, 2, 3. All right. And now we're starting our next little round. So all we did just then is this little bit here. We've added the edging on. I think we started like here. So we've just done that so far. So there's 12 of those total, I think, and we'll see how many we get done tonight. All right, do my crochet tonight too. Oh, that's awesome, Caitlin. oh, your granny used to tat. So this is actually crochet, but we have done tatting here before. This is some tatting, so it looks similar, but it's actually constructed and done in a totally different way. But it does look very, very similar. I think, I just learned how to tat. Hold on, I'm counting to 6 again. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Jeez, that was clumsy. But yeah, I just learned how to tat, and that, I think, got me wanting to crochet again. This was actually my emergency craft project, which means I just always like having a craft project on me. So this was in my bag in case I got stuck somewhere and needed a craft project. And it was just the purple circle in the middle. So I only had like this much done, and so I just recently brought it out again, and I'm like, I want to work on this more. So, oops. So I decided time to finish it up, and I made it to the last row here. Usually I don't take this much thread off at the same time, but I usually work on it in my lap so the spool doesn't run away from me. So I don't pull out that much thread, but since it's just here on the table, I'm going to pull out some more thread. What type of hook is this? Okay, so this is just a normal, like, small metal crochet hook, and then I have a ergonomic handle on it. It's called a Chunky Boy. By Chunky Boy Crafts, I believe. So if you are on TikTok here, if you look up Chunky Boy Crochet, like in the search, they'll pop up. And I have 2 of them. This is my second one that I got. I have a medium-sized one for larger needles, which, in the grand scheme of things are more medium needles, and then I got this small one. I think it's just the hole's a little bit smaller for the small needles, so I thought hook, I mean. So I'm just testing them out. Oop, just 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It has definitely helped me on the larger crochets. I've noticed, like, my larger project, the other one, and I think it's been helping with this. I haven't done as long of an extended time. I mean, they are heavy, so I feel like the weight of it maybe gets to be a little bit much, but like I said, though, with that other project, I went from my hand cramping up at, like, after an hour to being able to crochet straight for, like, 6 to 8 hours before feeling actual fatigue. So that was an improvement for sure. Okay, first little bloop. So this looks... Patricia, this looks super duper intricate, but after you learn just a literal very few things in crochet, then you can do this. It looks intricate, but like I'm literally just doing 2 stitches for the most part on this. One is just a chain stitch, which is the literal first thing you'll learn with crochet. And the second stitch I'm using is a double crochet, which is probably the 3rd stitch one would learn how to do. So if you can do those 2 stitches, at least with this pattern, but for the most part in these doilies, it's still just like your simplest of stitches. It's just teeny thread, so it's more of a question of, like, can your eyeballs deal with, like, looking at something so close for a long period of time. I was going to try using some of those magnifying glasses, but I forgot about that, just to see if that helps at all. But other than that, it's just the same. You're starting with a circle in the center, and then just going around and around and around. Okay, next bit. Just counting. And for a doily, each going around is one row. So this little edging that I'm doing is basically one row of this whole project. And it's just relaxing. Like, this is just my chill time to just, like, when I'm working on these very, very, like, long projects with like a zillion tiny stitches in it. Like, it really is just my every here and there, now and again, stitch a few stitches on project. And that's what it was for a while, but then I pulled it out again and like, ooh, I want to finish this. So I've actually been working on this the past couple of weeks. I've been doing a method of like where I'm allowing myself to have breaks during the day. So I'll work on, work for like 25 minutes, and then I'll take a 5-minute break, and during that break I'll crochet for 5 minutes, and then I'll go back and work again for 25 minutes and then take 5 minutes off again. So I've been kind of doing that method of working for the past couple of weeks, and that's allowed me, and then just chilling in the evening and crocheting for a while, like just listening to lives on TikTok and then just crocheting. So that's allowed me to get this done a whole lot faster all of a sudden than what I expected. I was gambling that I'd only need like 3 more colors, like when I was choosing colors earlier, like my remaining colors. Oops, I always forget to do this part. But I ended up needing one more, so that's why I have this green here. But I think it blends really nicely from the teal. All right, you guys, and before I forget, we are running our special still for these evenings, and that's order $20 in the shop and get a free mystery gift. You don't need any code or anything. I will just see who ordered during the live, and I'll add it to your order. And that's for stuff I'm typically doing, like embroidery. So last week we finished up our lilac embroidery, which I just love because it totally matches this. Like, I kind of want to hang them up in the same spot somehow. But anyway, so that's what we worked on last week. That's what I'm typically doing here is some embroidery stuff, but crochet and like I have a knitting project too. Like, sometimes that's just my super chill and watch TV craft, because there's no, like, I feel like I don't have to make any artistic decisions at all. And which sounds funny because this is clearly like, I've chosen these colors and it's just really pretty and fun, but I'm literally just following a pattern. I think I messed up this double crochet. Hold on. And once I choose the color, all I'm doing is counting, right? I'm not having to make any active decisions, and that's so relaxing to me. Like, with embroidery, I feel like you're still making active decisions. Like, even like the length of each stitch is a decision, and what color to do next, what stitch to do next. All those are kind of active decisions, even though like I find like embroidery super duper relaxing and fun and rewarding to, oops, I didn't do I didn't connect that chain of 5 into the little like picot there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So let's go back and do that. The nice thing about crochet too is that you're really only ever dealing with like one loop. So if you mess up, you can pull it out really easily, and all you do is grab that other loop. You don't have to, like, with knitting, you don't have to get like a zillion loops back onto your knitting needles or anything. You're only ever dealing with like the one loop. So that's nice. All right, and I need to get a pile more thread off of here again. There we are. You can stand up there. Is knitting harder than crochet? It always looked harder to me, but I don't know. Cat Dog Zoo is asking. If you don't know how to do either, I would say yes. I would say that yes, crochet's, I think, a little bit easier to learn. That's debatable. We've had that talk here before, and some people think knitting's a little bit easier. I personally think crochet's slightly less intimidating. I think what you're hooking into, like which hole to go in and all that is maybe a little bit more confusing with crochet, but I think crochet is definitely more forgiving. So, like if you make little mistakes here and there, they're more hidden, and so I think the learning period is more forgiving than knitting, I guess. That's just my interpretation of it. But yeah. Yeah, I'm thinking about it still. For me, I think crochet would be an easier one. But with knitting, you get like all those nice like stitches right next to each other, and it's all clean and pretty and orderly and whatever. And crochet is, you get a little bit more like twisted stitches, and you know, it's just a little less orderly feeling. So I think it's kind of could be based on personality a little bit too, like what one would like more than the other. Oh, what's this thing on the hook? So this is a Chunky Boy ergonomic handle. So it's by Chunky Boy. They're here on TikTok. Oh, wait a sec. Oops, I went too far. I wasn't supposed to go that far. Take it out. See, this is what I mean. So I screwed up. I stitched too far. So just to take it out, I just like pull it all out. I'm just like pulling it out to the last stitch here. And all I gotta do is stick it back in the hook, and I've just gone back a little bit. Whereas knitting, that would have been a way bigger job for me to deal with. I just saw another gap here, and I started making my stitches in that gap, but I forgot. I got these little bits in the middle that I gotta stitch. So I've done that twice though on this project, where I had to take out an entire row, which sucks because I mean I've only gone like from here to here tonight in a half hour, so like that's a couple hours, or at least a good hour and a half of time when I have to take out a whole row. But the mistake I made was too big each of those times to not like that. I had to take it out. I think I did enough here. So that was super annoying. But I caught this one quick here. And then there's one mistake in here that I decided, I'm not going back and taking that off. I had stitched too many stitches, and I just decided to stitch less stitches the next row to kind of make up for it. And again, stuff like that you can get away with crochet, I think. A little bit more so than knitting. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And the neat thing too, oh thanks! The neat thing too with this is that with crochet, with doily specifically, is once you get the pattern down, like I know what to do on this row. Like I don't have to look at my pattern anymore, which is great because it's like the worst pattern to read ever. I'm having to rely on past knowledge to get through it. All I have is like a horrible photocopy that is kind of illegible from a zillion years ago. Oh, cool. Cat Dog Zoo says, I've been making so many squares as practice. My whole family's getting pot dollars for Christmas. That's awesome. What I love doing is just using cotton yarn and doing squares. I love doing square swatches like that with either knitting or crochet, and I make them into dishcloths. But that's that's a great gift. Just tie a bow around a set of 4 and everyone uses that stuff. Good to go. 2, 3. So my hand that's using the chunky boy, my right hand here, is definitely feeling less fatigue than it has without, but now I feel like my left hand, could use something for fatigue. Thanks, Zeke. Alright, let's do a little slip stitch here. We're making those little bloops. Those little like picots on the edge. So these are kind of moving around on these chains. I'm going around the chains so they can kind of slide on the chains. I'll have to like clean those up and move them around so they look nicer. Like, see, it looks like a kind of messy here. I can actually kind of move them all in place, and when I starch it, I'll be like pulling it up like this, and so I'll be like going back and kind of getting them all in the kind of centered in a nice spot on all of these. It's looking cute though, these little like bloops on the end. This blend is actually looking really nice, I think, from this teal to the mint. Like, you can hardly tell, it just gets like a little lighter. Is this sewing thread, Abby? Yes, it is. I'm using 12 weight cotton sewing thread. This happens to be from Sulky. I just happen to have a zillion colors from them, and I've been using them to make these crochet doilies over the years as a way of kind of like using up the thread. So I each color switch here is me running out of a spool. So I go until the spools. Oh, what's going on here? Hold on. What? Hold on. Did something weird there. Started a stitch before finishing the stitch that came before, I think. But yeah, I want to do another one. I'm probably going to start it right when I'm done here, which is horrible because then I'm starting a whole nother project. But yeah, when I'm done with this doily, I kind of want to start another one and do like bright pinks and reds and yellows to kind of do like a sunrise version. And this is like the sunset version, or like a dusk and dawn kind of version. But I think I'm going to do it the other pattern that I have here. This one, this is a pattern that my grandma always used for her doilies that she used to make. So my grandma used to make zillions of doilies. They were all over the place, but in like that, just the white thread like this, and or cream colored. And this is the pattern that she always used, and I love doing it because I'm using the pattern, like the printout that she used, and I'm using her needles, and it just makes me feel close to my grandma. So I like this particular pattern, and I just enjoy this pattern. So I do want to do another one, like I said, with those like sunshine colors to kind of be a friend of this pattern. And I have no idea what I'm doing with these when I'm done. They just all kind of hang out. I actually have some in bins. Like, I literally don't know what to do with them. I don't sell them or anything. I just I just like making them. Just enjoy the process. The one doily I do have underneath some plants. I have one that I made out of all my grandma's old thread, and I have one of hers that she made. I kind of want to frame both of those and have them like a pair next to each other. So 3, 4, 5. I got to figure that out, like how to mount it really nicely. And but other than that, I don't know what to do with it. I did see a person on TikTok who made basically a doily like this, but big, so like with yarn, I think, and made it into like a parasol, like a umbrella. And dang, that was a cool idea for a doily. It looked so pretty, and it opened and shut and everything. It was just kind of cool. All right, got another thing to go here. Oh, you're trying to do a granny square and you're struggling a lot. Oh, Jacob, I'd like to do that here sometime. Let's see what people have to say about that. I use them in lightweight. Oh, okay. If learning, Jacob, honestly, oh yeah, chunkier yarn with a large hook for sure helps see the stitches. Then you can reduce the size of yarn in the hook. Yeah, agreed, Caitlin. Yeah, doing a granny square, starting out big. So a granny square, it's a good, like a lot of people, I mean, they're super duper popular now. It wouldn't be, like I wouldn't do that as like the first thing ever tried for crochet. Like I would learn how to do just like a row of how to chain stitch, and then like how to put crochets, like single crochets onto that, like being able to go back and forth with a row sort of thing, and then getting used to making like a chain, like doing like a couple stitches and then some chain stitches and then another couple stitches and some chain stitches, like just some patterns like that, just kind of getting used to it, and then getting into a granny square, because then you'll get the feel of like what it's like to chain or to like do a crochet in the same spot a bunch of times, because you'll need to be doing that sort of thing with a granny square. It would be fun to do a granny square here, though. We talked about that because I'm doing a quilt that mimics a granny square. We do have 2 weeks here left to this month, so that's kind of free weeks. So we could actually finish up our granny square quilt, and we could actually do a granny square. I'd have to look up how to do it again. I haven't done it in ages, but we could learn how to do a granny square, crocheted granny square here, maybe later in the week. I'll have to think about that, because that would be fun. I can get a bigger crochet hook out. We won't do it itty bitty. Maybe I'll try and find some colors that match the quilt, and then we can do like a little 4 square granny square pillow maybe to go with it. 2, 3, 4. 5. There we go. But yeah, I kind of like that idea. Ah, shoot. Let's try that again. I'm having a little... Ooh, I'm going to pull that out even more. I'm having a little trouble with this hook because, like I said, I bent it, and where it's bent, it's got a little like scratch in it now too. It's actually probably a physical, hole there actually, but it catches sometimes when I'm doing these chain stitches. So it's being annoying. There we are. So I'm going to do 4 more double stitches here, and then let's see where we're at. We got more time tonight to work on it, but haven't peeked at it yet. And I need more thread, so I'll maybe see if I missed some of your guys' comments. I'm sure I have. If I missed your comments, then I can for sure answer them again if you put them up again. Will I ever show an interlocking crochet pattern? An interlocking crochet pattern. I am not sure I know what that is, Bonnie. Oh, thanks. Thanks, Janet. Yeah, it's coming together here. So here's where we can kind of shape these little points. I'm just going to kind of pull on them. And we'll do that more like when I actually starch this. But here, let's just kind of lay this out. Let's see where we're at with it. So when we do starch it, like see how bloopy it is, it's all going to get stretched out. So it's all going to get like all pretty like this, like where we're going to actually see some of these lines in here, and you know, these shapes will kind of come out and it'll lay perfectly flat. And actually it'll get like bigger because like look how much I can stretch this. But yeah, so we did, I started here. I think I only had one of these edges done. So this one like here doesn't have the edge yet. So this is our row started like right here. So we did three so far, and I'd like to do one more. There's 12 bloops on this. So that's how long it takes. We've been working on it for like 45 minutes or so here, and gotten about this far of just like this tiny outer edge. And I don't know, maybe it takes me a long time, but that's how long these take for me. All right. Oh, I'm just seeing your first projects were scarves. Oh yeah, then you learned, Tunisian crochet. So I've not done that ever, Caitlin. Oops. All right, I'm just gonna pull more of this out so it's not sliding around everywhere again. Let's keep her moving here. Yeah, and when I'm not working on it, I just like make my loop kind of big and then just let it lay. And like I said earlier, the good thing with crochet is that if you do like pull out stitches on accident, you're still just dealing with one loop. It's just really easy to just go back and do those couple stitches that came out. And but yeah, I like the idea of doing a granny square here. That'd be fun. Today I just didn't want to set up anything for sewing, and I've been really itching to get this doily done, so like, we've talked about it. This is my emergency craft project that was in my bag forever, and I got it out recently when my husband was getting knee surgery, and like, dang, I kind of want to just finish this now. So that kind of sparked me working on it again after like not having touched it in years. And we're on the last row. The last row is still going to take a while, but it's the last row nonetheless. So I'm happy about that. Thanks, Amy. Oh, that's interesting. Justin says maybe try rubbing wax paper on the spot of the hook. I do have the thread conditioner. I wonder if that there. It's almost like I have to fill in a gap, which is annoying. I do want to try and bend it back, but I'm pretty sure that's going to break it, which sucks. Oh, gosh, maybe I don't want to bend it back then. Maybe this just can be forever broken. I think I did one too many, but I think we're fine. I will definitely at least videotape. I'll do a video of starching this. That's a process. It's not really a process, it just takes a long time. Oh, Nolene's asking how is John's knee? He just got his, I think, basically last follow-up for it today, and he's just gonna, not go playing soccer or anything right away. It's just like a slow get back into things. Even though like he probably feels like he can do that stuff, they said new research that, they used to have athletes, not that, just like his doctor worked with like hardcore athletes and stuff, but they found that like they used to say, oh yeah, get into it a lot sooner, but now they're backtracking that concept and doing longer recoveries, because when the athletes got back to it with like a less recovery time, like after just a couple of weeks, they were more likely to re-injure themselves, even though everything felt and looked good, and they thought, oh yeah, we need to push it a little so it gets more muscle and all that, but it ended up in like they've done studies, I guess, now, and they're finding that it is ending up in re-injuring it more, so now they're doing longer recoveries. So he can bike ride and all that sort of stuff, but do what the PT person says. But all in all, I mean, he's walking fine. He doesn't have any of the pain from, what it was before with that torn meniscus. Caitlin's asking, am I going to block it on live? I haven't quite decided yet, Caitlin. So that's kind of what I'm trying to think through. So the starting process, at least what I do, I mean, I don't know. I'm sure there's this other way to do this, but I just have like literal that starch that comes in the big blue bottle. And actually my bottle of it's probably 10 years old. I just dip it. I don't even dilute it. I dip the whole thing in a bowl of that. And then it's the blocking that takes forever. So I start in the middle, and then I am just like pulling outward and like pinning it in place, and just like constantly pulling it more and more outward and pinning it down, adjusting if anything's like crooked and whatever. So it's gonna take a zillion pins and take at least an hour to do, I'm sure. So I don't know, maybe we'll do that on live. That'd be a fun thing to do on live, actually. So yeah, we could do that. Yeah, that'd be interesting. I'll have to even see if I have enough pins for something like that. It's a messy job. I get starch everywhere. But it makes all the difference. I mean, I can show you again after I get these two stitches. Just the difference between something that's not starched, like this is not starched yet. Oh geez, I went through all that thread I pulled out already. Yeah, so this is unstarched. It's very like bloopy. If I stretch it out, then you can kind of see stuff, but like without, you can't, versus this guy, which has been starched. He lays perfectly flat, everything stays in place. Each of these little like picots or this little edging, all of those are perfectly in place. So each one of these I had to pin down to get in the right spot. So that's what I'm gonna have to do here too. Like each one of these, I'm gonna have to pin, each one of these, I'm gonna have to pin down in place and let it dry basically. And I mean, this was starched years ago, so it is more kind of floppy and everything, but everything is still staying in place. It'll start off stiffer. So this is one that I starched recently, and like these guys are pretty stiff. It's pretty dense here, so those are pretty stiff yet, which is fine. That's what I want. I want it to be like perfectly flat and nice like that. But it's still, despite it being heavily starched, it's still flowy. Like it's not, cardboard or anything, but it just makes such a big difference. Like again, this is all stretched out. It's a different pattern, but that's all stretched out, whereas this, is all bunchy. This will end up looking more like that when we're done. Each of these picots, each of these little bits will be all perfectly in place. It's gonna be fun. It really does make a huge difference in being able to see the designs and everything. So, but yeah, it's a huge pain in the butt though, but it really does make a difference. So we could we could starch it, and I have a bunch of stuff to do before then. We literally only have, where are we at? 1, 2, 3, 4.5 out of 12 of these little like bloops done, so this is gonna be several hours of crocheting yet. And then I have all the ends to tuck in, so like when I switch colors, I have to weave in those ends, and then starching though. And it really is cool. So yeah, I think, why not? Let's do that on live. I don't know when that'll be. I gotta, as soon as I'm done with this edge and this last row and tucking those ends in, then we'll do it. It'd be nice if we could do it this week or next week, though. I'd love that. Using 2 colors, piece kind of makes different pattern on each side. Oh, interesting. Oh, interesting, Bonnie. I'll have to check that out. I think you explaining it like that, I think I know what you're talking about now. I have not done that before. But I think I know what you're referring to now. I'll have to Google that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Come on, guy. There. I'm excited about this project, though. This was just kind of sitting around forever, and it's just so fun to use up these little spools and see how the colors blend together. I've just been really enjoying making doilies in this way out of just all this thread I just happen to have, and I feel like I'm slow motion recycling. I'm slowly using up all this thread that I have, and that's always exciting. I like that. Thanks again for the follows, everyone. I appreciate it. And we're having that special tonight again. Order $20 or more from the shop, and I will throw in a free mystery gift during the live here, and a little bit after. I'll let it go a little after again. We're here till 9:30, you guys. It's almost getting to that time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I'm here at 8:30 Central Time to 9:30 every evening, and typically we do a lot of embroidery stuff. But the last week of the month, and in this case last 2 weeks, because we have an extra week, I work on random projects that we have around, or we do like some unscheduled projects. Basically, our first 3 weeks we're on more of a schedule. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, one more round of that. And then we've done another bloop. Very technical term. I don't know what you'd actually call the act of doing a portion of a flowery part of the motif, I don't know, of the edging. I don't know if you can hear, but you can almost hear like a clicking noise, like a scratchy clicking noise. That's the back part that I bent. My thread is hitting that, and my thread's getting a little scratched every single time I stitch, because I busted this needle, or this hook, I mean. 2, 3. It's like little seashells on the end here. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. All right. So sometimes I'm just making my double stitches around the chain, like these big chain stitches where there's these like big gaps, and then other times I'm doing what I'm doing now, and I'm crocheting into the top of the previous row's double crochets, double stitches. Alright, let's make some more chains, get some more floss. We'll go for about 5 more minutes here, and then we'll call it for the evening. Oh, you have the pattern practically memorized. Oh, for sure, once you get going on a row, it's just repeated. So I definitely have this little portion memorized. But, you know, it changes every row. Oops. It's going to be a double stitch, meaning I got to wrap it around first. But yeah, so you get the motif of the road, or the road down, and then it just repeats itself a zillion times. 12 times in this case. But yeah, that's why I find it like super relaxing, because, you know, I don't have to really think about anything. And if I forget, I can just always go back to the pattern and be like, what was I supposed to do here? Oh yeah. The other thing about having to do the motif over and over again as you go around is that you can spot mistakes faster, like how I did a little bit earlier. Like, oh, this feels weird. Why is this going this far? And like, oh yeah, I went too far, so I had to take some of it out. Can't you just get the same size? Robin, I totally can, and I probably will. I'll probably just get a new hook this same size. But this is my grandma's hook. This is one that she used to make these, so that's why I want to keep it around. But yeah, I'll probably just get another one. Otherwise, I do have one that's a little bit bigger and one that's a little bit smaller, and if one of those works for these doilies, I'll probably just go with that and let this one be. One, two, three, four. Okay. So I think I will just finish up these 4 here, and then let's take a look at it again, and I think that's where I'll stop for the night. I'll probably work on it a little bit more tonight. John has some wine poured for me already, so I might just chill and drink my wine and, I don't know, watch a movie and work on this more. So, alright, that's where we're at. Let's just I like pulling on these little picots that we made, because it kind of centers all our stitches on the little chain stitch. We'll do more. I'll do that like once I starch it though too. So alright. So we did use up a bit of that green though. I feel like this is smaller. Like I feel like we've squished it in there. Alright, so here's where we got tonight. Out here. Let's see. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, 5 out of the 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 out of the 12 units, I guess, done tonight. So again, we've been just working on the outer row. So each going like circumference is one row. So we've been going out and out and out, and I've been going until I run out of thread, and so that's why it changes color. So that's why the middle is all the one purple, is because you know, to go around this little center area, it takes way less thread than going around a whole thing here. So I was able to, that thread went a lot farther in the center, and it got more and more spread out as we go. So like by the time, you know, if I had to go around again, I'd probably only be able to get 2 rows out of this entire spool. I think this teal, I only got like 3 rows out of. This one I got like 4, this one I got like 4, this one I got like 6 or so, and then there. So that like the closer, you know, when I'm in the inside, I get a lot more rows out of it versus when I'm way on the outside. So it's just gonna have this tiny little green edging. It'll eventually, over here, it'll have like two rows because I started the green in the middle of the last row. That'll be kind of fun. But yeah, so that's where we're at so far. I'm loving these colors. I do kind of want to start another one with those other reds and pinks, like those juicy pinks. And I think that's going to be like a nice contrast to this one. So this will be like the dusk one, and that will be like the sunrise one, I think, when we're done. So, all right. So thanks again, everyone, for joining. I think we'll call it there for the evening. And like I said, I think we will starch this on live as well. We're not there yet because I do have to finish it and tie in all the ends. But I do like the idea that we can starch this here too. That is a whole, like I said, a process of just like pinning the whole thing down. Blocking it is what we're really doing it, but we're starching it. And blocking it. We're not just blocking it with water. I want this to be nice and all the little picos, little ends, all perfectly in place. So here's where we got for you guys in the front there. And it'll get much bigger too when we stretch it out. So I will definitely keep you informed on when we're doing that. It'll just be when I get this done. So thanks for letting me just hang out and crochet with you guys today. This is just fun and relaxing for me. Knitting and crochet is rhythmic relaxation. Exactly, Nolene. Totally, 100% agree. You just get that one little sequence down, and that's all you're doing. So, all right, I will let the shop, that like mystery gift offer, stay open for another 10 minutes or so. If you wanted to check out, then there'll be time to do that. So again, that's order $20 from the shop and get a free mystery gift. I will just put it in. You don't need a code, and you don't need to actually put it in your cart. I will just throw a mystery gift in to anyone that orders $20 or more during this live and like the 10 minutes or so after now. So thank you again. I will see you again tomorrow at 8:30 p.m. Central Time. Have a lovely, lovely evening, everyone. Good night.